Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the semifinals of the And Then Some Gaming Tournament brought to you by me, B-Bomb from DoaCommenters.com. If you like what you hear, please follow me on YouTube and on Twitch. And this is the semifinals match between Fota, Freedom of the Action, and Rat in the Dark. Rat in the Dark taking down one of the favorites in this weekend tournament, competing for around $2,000 worth in various prizes and gear. Not too bad for a weekend tournament, and please, if you want to see more tournaments like this, please check out ATS-Gaming.com, supported by Steeler Series and Complet. Shoutouts to them. But Freedom of the Action definitely going to be Rat's toughest opponent to date. Freedom of the Action, probably the most well-known team in this tournament. They have actually beaten some pretty solid teams for FC. I know they've taken down recently, and this is a very powerful team from Russia, so we'll see what Rats in the Dark decide to do to compete with this. They played a very conservative game style in the last game, but we all know the Russians love their aggression, so we'll see if they have a different sort of style of play to deal with this crazy aggression that might come through from Fota. But anyway, going into the picks and bans, we're going to see Wisp and Magnus, the bans by Fota. Me all Rat in the Dark, gonna ban the Darkseer, so I expect Keeper the Light to be the first choice. It's gonna be Nyx, so Nyx or Keeper the Light, that is usually a decision that teams have to be made in this when the ban pool is situated of these first four heroes. So Rat in the Dark, probably gonna choose Coddle right now, I imagine. And we'll see what they decide to do to sort of enhance their tri-line, because Keeper the Light will most likely be in a safe tri-line, although you can potentially run him in an aggressive tri-line. And keep in mind, Keeper the Light aggressive tri-line, if you manage to get the upper hand, you do have that option to go for a very early push. So that is definitely something that Fota will have to keep in the back of their minds. They will have to sort of ban out heroes that might compose an aggressive tri-line very, very well. Or if they do make a tri-line that can go up against an aggressive tri-line, they will have to contest that very, very heavily. And we're going to see Lifestealer. So far, I think this might be an aggressive tri-line lineup on the side of Rat in the Dark. Lifestealer can definitely function in both tri-lines, but I think with the magic immunity coming in, he definitely can function better than most carries in aggressive tri-line. Although, in order to get Lifestealer the max amount of levels, in order for him to get that 6-second rage up ASAP, it might be better to go into safe tri-line. And meanwhile, Fota going through their picks very, very quickly, picking up the Bane and the Gyrocopter. Bane has really become a top-tier support in a very short amount of time. And Gyrocopter, with the introduction of No Time to playing him as a support, can pretty much play any capacity, whether it be mid-solo, safe lane carry, aggressive tri-lane carry, support. He can pretty much do it all. One of those heroes who really doesn't give away too much of their strategy. And actually Fota, I mean, they could potentially do Nyx Assassin safe lane, tri-lane support, or they could do Nyx Assassin solo mid. Bane could potentially be solo mid as well, so far it's very difficult to say where these lineups will be situated. But Rat in the Dark, I think they have their tri-line mostly composed. It's going to Keeper the Light, Rubik, Lifestealer. That is their tri-line, and meanwhile we're going to see Fota banning out offlane heroes, perhaps suspecting that Fota are going to run a safe tri-line with the Lifestealer. And keep in mind, Fota do have some defense mechanisms. They have Mana Burn by Nyx, they have Nightmare by Bane if it is a tri-line versus tri-line action, and keep in mind Bane and Gyrocopter do synergize quite well. Nightmare into that homing missile, even if it's just 1 point, is a solid disable, and the Rocket Barrage, that Nightmare, does help Gyrocopter get set up very, very nicely.
Radiant team ban.
Meanwhile, Rat in the Dark banning out teamfight heroes. Pretty surprising, despite them having Rubik. Maybe they don't anticipate the Rubik getting too many levels. Going about the Puck, also these heroes, strong mid lane heroes, and Enigma, very, very strong jungler. So if Keeper the Light and Rubik don't get their levels going, Enigma could potentially push in very, very aggressively. And Fota going about the Silencer. Maybe they've played some Silencer in their matchups thus far. I have not seen a Silencer in this weekend just yet from these guys. Probably they haven't practiced it, but no Silencer in this weekend for now. Fota gonna pick up a Clockwork. These picks are actually just flying by. Clockwork could potentially go mid-solo, but will probably be in the offlane position. Be sacrificed to the will of Meal. Nature's Prophet. I think this Nature's Prophet pick is gonna lead me to believe that this will in fact be a tri-line versus tri-line scenario. Because Nature's Prophet can function as a viable offlane hero, can potentially be a mid-lane hero as well. But in order to maximize his farm, I think he wants to be in the safe lane. And Lifestealer, again, one of those carries who does do pretty well in tri-line versus tri-line action, even though he does want those levels up ASAP, because he is one of the hardest mid-game carries in the game.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Meanwhile, Fota, we'll see if they choose something like a Stair mid lane hero. They could potentially pick up support for their tri lane if they do Nyx Assassin Soul mid. So they are pretty versatile in what they want to choose. I imagine they're going to put Nyx in defensive tri lane and try to pick up mid soul, whether it be something like a Quap or... yeah, Quap is pretty much the only hero, unless they want to go for Invoker and go for super late game. But Clockwork does do his best job in the early mid stages of the game. Gyrocopter, very, very powerful late game carry, but is very powerful in the early game as well. Is a little bit weaker in the mid game as teams start getting more and more tank, and before Gyrocopter picks up his BKB. But if he has a strong enough early game, he will get that BKB up very, very quickly. So right now, these lanes are pretty difficult to call. But it is going to be that Queen of Pain, so it's going to be Clock off lane. Probably won't be an aggressive tri lane by Gyrocopter, Bane, and Nyx. And it's going to be Queen of Pain mid. And the question is, who will Ride in the Dark face off against that Queen of Pain mid with? Puck is already out of the picture. They banned it themselves. So there's really not too many viable mids that can deal with Quap at the moment left in the pool. Unless they go for something crazy like a Windrunner, or they could do a dual lane mid of something and a Shadow Demon. Really, whoever Ride in the Dark does decide lane against that Queen of Pain mid lane will have a difficult time to do. Unless they do Nature's Prophet mid, use the trees to harass the Queen of Pain. That is definitely an option. But Ride in the Dark taking a while. So far, Boogie's team has yet to be challenged considerably in this tournament. They had a pretty difficult game in the last game, but definitely handling themselves very well. And they're going to pick up the Beastmaster, so it's going to be Soul mid Beastmaster most likely, unless they put Furion in the offlane. And Beastmaster can last hit against Queen of Pain if he has some Bile Crow, but overall it does lose the lane because of that range advantage. But if he gets a couple early points that Inner Beast can have that creepy equilibrium push, will have him easier access into the runes despite Queen of Pain having that blink up.
Prepare for battle.
And it's time to introduce the players and teams. It is going to be Boogie playing the Rubik's Spin, is going to be playing that Nature's Prophet, JRX is playing the Keep the Light, Sifla is playing the Lifestealer, and Lapis is playing the Beastmaster. Meanwhile, on the side of the Dire, it's going to be, oh god, Capo, Vost, Doke. I'm thinking that BOCT is Vost, because Havost is Xbox. And then we have Zara playing Gyrocopter, Wabza playing the Bane, Stells is playing the Queen of Pain, Prepare for Battle is playing the Clockwork, and right now the teams are preparing for battle, and the Dire seem to sense that the Rain are moving in. They're going to back off accordingly. Rain just going to ward out the camps to prevent the pulls. So the pull being warded leads me to believe that this will be a challenge versus challenge situation. And this middle lane, or this safe camp, being blocked as well. Or it could be Trial versus Soul, just secure the Nature's Prophet free farm. And that is what it seems like they're doing. Nature's Prophet saving up a decent amount of gold. Might be for fast boots at speed, so I could be wrong altogether.
The battle begins.
Keeper Light has still 2 more wards in his pocket, gonna pick up a regen rune. So the Dire are definitely gonna have a difficult time in map control at this stage in the game, but keep in mind, these wards don't actually see anything. They're just there purely to block the camps. And the question is, do the Dire supports have enough gold to pick up those Sentry wards off the bat? No, they don't, but in 1 creep or so, they will have it. And it is going to be a safe tri lane, and Nature's Prophet going to bend the top lane altogether. Interesting. So they want Nature's Prophet to get a couple of safe levels, get that teleport up. Then once the push does come in, Nature's Prophet will teleport to the top lane and should be okay, but he has some clarities in the picture already, and they're going to do some mid lane stacking or mid lane damage for the Nature's Prophet, allowing him to easily clear that camp when it comes down to it. So already some interesting maneuvers by the Rain, and you can see Beastmaster just being harassed so heavily at the outset of the battle, trading some hits with the Queen of Pain, but you never want to trade hits, and Beastmaster gonna have a very difficult time in this lane. We'll find it even difficult to approach the lane to get the ball, but picking up a point into Inner Beast to push back the creep equilibrium and get himself a little bit more rune control. You know, Clock is just going to be harassed back, but Clock can just turn around. Keep in mind, Cog's very low cooldown. Do a significant amount of damage, but doesn't really want to use that mana so early on. And might block the creeps with the Cogs. No, it looks like that is not in his mind just yet. and that does mean Lifesteal will get absolute free farm. You know, these dire supports gonna do some counter-warring, did manage to successfully take out this small camp ward, but now they have to find the other ward. Looks like they will identify the location, gonna place that sentry ward to potentially get that pole spot up. They're guessing that it's around here or in the camp, and it looks like they are gonna be mistaken. This camp will not spawn. So far, very tame early game, but this mid lane is being won handily by the Queen of Pain. And meanwhile, Lifesteal is getting free farm in the bottom lane. Despite him being pretty low in terms of HP, he does have that salve, so should be okay. And meanwhile, these rain supports gonna get the creep pulls going, so we'll get some experience in farm going their way. And Beastmaster probably just gonna do some ball crowing. Meanwhile, there is gonna be a teleport gank on the Clockwork. Here comes Sprout. Cogs looks like they were already expended. A couple more right clicks will seal the fate of that Clockwork. Nature's Prophet does pick up the first blood. Nicely done. Gonna help fuel his Midas if he does decide to go for that. So nicely done by Rats in the Dark thus far. And the question is, what item will Gyrocopter go for? Probably Tranquils, or may go into that Aquila. Get that early push going. And then will he rush the BKB? Will he go for something like a Drums to help sustain himself? Anything's possible at this point. And despite Beastmaster being harassed so heavily, actually keeping up in terms of the CS quite nicely, despite taking a lot of Shadow Strike and Scream of Pain damage. Queen of Pain did manage to get the rune despite that point to Inner Beast, that AoE nuke in the form of Scream of Pain, just too good. And Queen of Pain does have Invisible Rune, will be able to bottle up. But considering the lane, Invisible Rune probably the worst rune you could pick up, as there might be a rotation by Rubik very soon with the Telekinesis. No, they're going to think better of it. Nature's Prophet just going to summon some trees, going to go for that fast Midas build. And in terms of anti-push, only Gyrocopter is in the picture, and Keep the Light looks like he's just going to suicide to the neutrals. Probably picked up all the gold he could possibly get. And just suiciding, he was probably low in terms of HP, so this is an easier way back to the fountain. Respawn in about 2 seconds, so overall not too much time wasted. If he lost gold, it was probably around 50 gold. So overall, better time investment. And that is going to mean Rubik will be able to get this pull going. Might be able to get another stack going if he's lucky, but he is going to get a nice amount of experience. But since these supports are out of the lane, that is giving Clockwork a lot of experience that he's definitely going to be happy with. And actually, Lifesteal is completely out of regen. He's going to have to be ferried to Salve or some Tangos, otherwise he will just take too much damage from these creeps. Going to get some Tangos shipped to him by the Rubik, but that is going to mean Lifesteal is going to miss 2 creeps. And in the grand scheme of things, when we're trying to outfarm a Gyrocopter, these 2 creeps could be pretty difficult to deal with, as Rubik going to do a self-preservation, Telekinesis, and Rage is going to be used by the Lifesteal just to dodge. So this Clocker, despite giving up that first blood, still playing quite nicely, playing without fear. And Clock is a hero who desperately wants that experience because he does fall out quite fast in the late game in terms of damage, as Keep the Light going to do some harassment and actually going to do some cogs to help delay the onslaught of the Lifestealer. And Lifestealer really no mana to cast the Open Wounds, no mana to even cast the Rage, so he's going to be SOL for quite a bit. But there is going to be a teleport around by the Nature's Prophet, no, just a ping, as Clockwork just does not care whatsoever. He's all machine anyway, so no emotions. And actually Keep the Light trying to do his best not to take too much damage, always endangering or threatening the advance of the Lifestealer. There's going to be another teleport. Lifestealer's mana has been drained as a salve has been transferred, and actually Clockwork is doing a solid job in this bottom lane, forcing countless amounts of regen and burning all the mana on the side of the Radiant. So just giving Radiant a lot of trouble, and that is going to give Gyrocopter an 11 CS lead. And now the Radiant, or now the Dark, can finally do some creep pulls to give their support some farm. Next Assassin hits level 3, Bane only level 2, but is just going to stack some camps for the Gyrocopter, clean out ASAP Gyrocopter. Probably no points of missile, no points of missile just yet, considering nobody's in his lane. Ideally wants to get 1 point of missile for early game engagements with the Bane setup, but still. And this Clock, no respect. Bane's going to pick up a double damage rune, again thwarting the Beastmaster. So despite Clock giving up first blood, I think he's okay with how this lane's going. He is level 5, almost level 5.5. Gonna have to go back to Fountain because he's out of mana. But he has Boots of Speed. Meanwhile, the Lifestealer, Rubik only level 3, Lifestealer is going to be not even level 6, so overall, I think it might be safe to say that the Dire are winning all 3 of their lanes. But actually, Beastmaster are doing a solid job keeping up in terms of farm with the Queen of Pain, so this lane seems to be neutral for the most part, and Rain probably has a slight advantage just because of that first blood. But the question is, again, what will Gyrocopter decide to go for? Actually going to leave some lane creeps for the Bane with the double damage rune to clean up while he takes the farm of these stacked up neutrals. Only going to miss probably 1 wave of these lane creeps in exchange for a lot of experience and a lot of farm. So overall, worth it for the Gyrocopter. And is going to give Bane a nice bit of experience. Now he's level 3.5. And there's actually going to be a teleport top by the Keeper of the Light, anticipating a push. There is a creep wave that's quite significant in margin, and I guess they saw the catapult creep. But the Dire are just going to keep doing some creep pulls, so this push is going to be delayed. Keeper of the Light gonna get some HP being drained on the top lane. Nature's Prophet with the ultimate is going to clean up the rest of that wave. Meanwhile, Clockwork explodes with the help of the Infest. So Clockwork now dying again. So now, it's safe to say the Rain are firmly winning this bottom lane. That Clockwork has died twice in, despite Clockwork almost being level 6 at 7.5 minutes in the game. Meanwhile, Rain trying to apply a bit of pressure. Unfortunately, Leicester are not the best pusher in the game in terms of carrying, in terms of carries. And Roar's going down the middle lane. Queen of Pain, can she escape? Will escape. Keeper of the Light eliminate. Apparently was not in the picture just yet. So Roar will be out of the picture for the next 70 seconds or so. And Clock trying to get to that rune. Is he at level 6? Not yet level 6, so Beastmaster should have the edge. No, Clock is going to pick up that invisibility rune. Again, thwarting that Beastmaster. But Beastmaster, full HP and mana. Still 1 bottle charge. Not too dissuaded. Going for the mech, as we see so often Beastmasters these days. So far, pretty slow-paced game. But Gyrocopter vastly outfarming the Lifestealer. 18 CS ahead of him at this point. Just clearing out stack after stack. And allowing his supports to get some experience. Not too much, but still some. As the first pause of the game does go out, or second pause of the game, Midas was the item on Gyrocopter. Pick up the Helmet Dominator so he can stack these camps as well. So overall, this Gyrocopter's income will be filthy. 420 GPM at 8 minutes in the game, very, very high. Considering he can only farm in 1 lane at this stage in the game, and there's not as many creeps as that do spawn at this stage in the game compared to later on. But he's just going to cut out another stack that is still going to help fuel his HP intake. And he did dominate a creep, so he can stack some Ancients later on. So his Gyrocopter might become a huge problem later on for the Rain to deal with, considering Leicester is not keeping up in terms of farm. But Mech is going to be up in about 150 gold for the Beastmaster. We're probably going to go for Arcane Boots next to help sustain that Mecha and his spells and the Roar. Meanwhile, Boogie, level 5, almost level 6. We'll be able to get level 6 after this creep wave. So the supports on the side of the Rain more high level than the supports on the side of Dire at this stage in the game. And Boogie gonna have access to spell steal. Keep in mind he will always be able to steal that Fiend's Grip, because it is a channeling ability before Bane. Probably can steal something like the Cogs by the Clockwork as well. But there's gonna be a wraparound gank. Dire do have the ward vision. They were anticipating the Rain trying to contest this top rune by the Queen of Pain. But Beastmaster just gonna think better of it, just gonna do some blocks. He has full HP, full mana, 2 bottle charges left. And there's gonna be the first push of the game. Nature's Prophet coming out of the jungle finally. Did help with 2 ganks already with that Midas. Now starting to sustain his gold intake with some towers, and has facilities for a bit of extra armor. So this bottom tier 1 tower will end up dying right now. And meanwhile, looks like Beastmaster gonna have the Nightmare drain for him. Roar is gonna fly in onto the Queen of Pain, gonna take a Wrath of Nature right to the face. And that was a very defensive Roar, but did help save the life of his Rubik as well as his own life. And in exchange, they are going to get a bottom tier 1 tower, so very much worth it, as Leicester is going to get trapped in the Cogs with the Clock, as he is going to rage up. Keep in mind the Clockwork Cogs go through that rage, going to push him despite Leicester actually going right in front. That is so annoying. That's one of the reasons why Clock has been trending up, despite Clock making an opening. Even despite that, Leicester still gets cogged Really, really annoying bug. So Leicester is going to die some sweet revenge for the clock. And Leicester going to be out of the picture as Queen of Pain is going to teleport in or blink in. We'll have access into one blink, won't pursue the issue. Looks like she used that Sonic Wave in that middle lane engagement.
Radiant's top tower is under it.
So meanwhile, it's 2-2. Gyrocopter probably continuing to CS out of control. 100 CS at 11 minutes in the game. Keep in mind, probably around 40 to 50 of those were neutral kills, but still, in ridiculous farm. Not really revealing what he's going to go for at this point. Keep in mind, if he does go fast BKB, Roar goes right through that. Leicester's auto attack goes through that. So BKB might not be the best time, especially if Rubik managed to steal Fiend's Grip. BKB rush by the Gyrocopter might not be the best, as the Radiant ward was spied out, seeing that this camp did not get stacked, preventing any future stacks, but still 3 stacks with a Black Dragon spawn in there. That's about 1,000 gold for the Gyrocopter, so that might pressure the Radiant to push down this middle tier 1 tower ASAP before the Gyrocopter can really clear it out. Taking a look at the early game gold graph, bit in favor of the Radiant. They do have a Nature's Prophet farming the jungle, meanwhile the supports really on the side are not farming whatsoever. And that tower kill is going to give Radiant a nice boost in terms of gold. Experience graph in favor of the Radiant as well. No, actually in favor of the Dire. Clockwork picking up that kill is going to help them out a nice amount, as the Radiant are going to smoke up, going to catch out the Gyrocopter. He is going to get lifted, he's going to get roared into the air. Prophet is going to teleport in. Gyrocopter, can he get his call down going? As he does manage to get it off. Trying to man up, is going to man up. Sonic Wave, that lifesteal by the Gyrocopter helping to save his life. Picking up a triple kill in exchange for nothing. And that is a huge blow to the side of the Radiant. Just didn't have enough burst damage. As Gyrocopter probably thanking his lucky stars that he went for treads rather than tranquils. And Rubik not having his spell stolen at that point, that one extra bit of spell damage probably would have made the difference. And now Gyrocopter gonna go back, gonna get well on his way towards his next time. And that is such a big, big blow towards the Radiant at this stage in the game. And this ward, again, preventing the stack. I guess it's a force of habit to keep pulling. The Leicester pretty close to his armor. We'll have it up in about 250 gold. Meanwhile, Nature's Prophet after that depth, gonna be very far away from he decides to go for. As this camp is gonna be cleared, just look at Gyrocopter's gold intake. Starts out with 50 gold. Gonna have the Yasha ship towards him. Starts out with 50 gold. We'll probably pick up close to 1k gold. No, Clock is gonna scout out the rocket. I think the rocket was stolen by the Rubik. And here comes the Wrath of Nature. That ward still doing a lot of work. Wasn't able to clear out, only cleared out 1 camp. But we'll have that flat cannon up very, very soon. The Rockets continue to scout the Gyrocopter. The Radiant desperately want to contest this, but the Dire supports are in the picture. Axe is going to help clear out 3 of those creeps. Nicely done by the Radiant contesting that. And Leicester is in the picture with level 4 Rage. Does have that armlet, so Dire might not be so eager to take this team fight. Rockets constantly hurting down the Gyrocopter, but he wants to get some sort of investment. Some sort of return on his investment. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain does pick up a kill on the Rubik in the middle lane, so no more rocket spam. And Gyrocopter gonna have to be satisfied with only about 450 gold. Meanwhile, Illuminate's gonna fly in, constantly scouting out the area. As Clock gonna pause the game. Clock looks like he might go for a mechanism himself, not too sure. As there's really no other mechanism carriers on the side of the Dire. And Clock getting a decent amount of farm, probably going to go for that mecha. And the Radiant, are they recalling somebody? Looks like they are not currently recalling anybody at this point. So this last Black Dragon camp will be taken out by that Gyrocopter most likely, but still, nicely contested by the Radiant. Definitely making up some of the gold differential that they lost in that huge engagement in the top lane, but if you look at the gold graph, it'll probably be still in a nice advantage for the Dire. Actually, it's pretty much even, because the Dire have yet to take a tower. Experience advantage definitely in favor of the Dire. 3k gold advantage can be overcome. If we look at the late stages of the game, I think the Radiant theoretically have the late game because Rubik can steal a spell. Roar scales so well to all stages of the game. If you roar a BKB Gyrocopter, that's 4 seconds, where that BKB won't do anything. Lifestealer still scales pretty well, even against this lineup, despite the Enfeeble and the Fiend Script. And Nature's Prophet is really the hard carry in this game for the Radiant. If he manages to get his farm going, he'll just be incredibly difficult to stop, even with the flat can coming in. Meanwhile, Clock doesn't really scale that well. NA scales very well, Bane scales pretty well, Queen of Pain. Considering her early start, not really having the best of times, going to be quite far away, but we'll go for that BKB saying, alright, you're going to have to roar one of us, so you're going to roar BKB Gyro or you're going to roar BKB me. But Gyrocopter not even going for the BKB at this point. And actually Bane going to pick up that last hit. I guess Gyrocopter was just too low in terms of HP and Illuminate would have actually finished him off. So overall, both teams playing very, very passively. But I think at this pace, it is favoring the Radiant slightly unless Gyrocopter does become out of control, which he could very well do so. But they definitely want that level 11 on the Beastmaster for the shorter cooldown on the Roar, as well as the increased duration. You know, Lifestealer trying to clear out that camp, but can't do it nearly as fast. And the question is, what will Nature's Prophet go for? Will he go for something like a Shadow Blade? We've seen a bit of research in that. Will he go for Mecha? Beastmaster already has Mecha. Will he go for Dagon? Will he go for damage? Anything's possible. And now the Dire are going to be without a spawn for the next minute or so. As there is getting engaged for the Clockwork, the Roar is constantly cancelled by the Valkyrie Self, but a nice telekinesis is going to prevent that. Here comes the Prophet with the Lifestealer Bomb inside him. Nyx's Assassin is going to Vendetta out of there. We'll escape for now, but this top lane going to be under a lot of pressure. Will there be a mid lane assault attempted as well? Queen of Pain trying to do whatever she can. Gyrocopter is going to come in. It's going to be a tower trade, 1-for-1. But a kill advantage going in the favor of the Wrath of Nature going to come in, almost completely clean out the Queen of Pain. But this middle tower will end up dying. Lifestealer does pick up the last hit. And he does have the Midas up, and they're going to keep pushing in. Interesting. They don't have the Roar up. But they really want to apply a lot of pressure with that Keeper of the Light Illuminate online. They know Queen of Pain very low in terms of HP. I think that's what's sparking this push in for the Dire. They see Queen of Pain so low in terms of HP. No bottle charges. Can't actually regen up. We'll have to go back to base. And that is going to mean 2 towers for the price of 1. But Quap does have the BKB up, but still a nice amount of gold going to the pockets of the Lifestealer, who I think got both the last hits. Yes, he did. So could potentially go for AC. Maybe Deso. Meanwhile, Nyx's Assassin roaming in. Has not used Vendetta aggressively whatsoever. And they're just waiting to see if these camps will spawn. Finally does. Gyrocopter, if he does go for BKB, still about 1400 gold away. We'll probably go for that Manta. Again, a lot of mechanisms in place considering Rubik will always steal that Fiend Script. If Rubik survives, that is. Taking a look at the items on the Radiant, Force Staff is going to finish, and Lifestealer going to finish up a straight up Basher. Manages to get a bash on the Queen of Pain. We'll go right through that BKB, bashing the Gyrocopter, preventing that AoE damage. Pretty strong items up on the side of the Radiant. Beastmaster going to go for that Aghanims. Deciding to skip the Arcane Boots for now. They have Keeper of the Light. Gyrocopter going very greedy, getting a Demon Head, so it's going to be a while before he finishes any completed item. And here comes a gank by the Radiant, going to recall somebody. Call down is already going to be used. It looks like Bane is going to grip out the Beastmaster. Beastmaster is going to die before you can get the Roar off, and the Radiant are on full retreat. Nyx's Assassin does manage to kill off the Keeper of the Light. Meanwhile, where is Lifestealer? Nature's Prophet does clean up the kill. Lifestealer trying to do whatever he can. So it's going to be a 3-for-2 exchange. Oh no, Nature's Prophet never stood a chance. Gonna work on the Gyrocopter, gonna get 1 bash. The tree's actually blocking the Gyrocopter. Nice micro. It's gonna be a 4-for-3 exchange. But the Gyrocopter died, and Queen of Pain used a BKB charge. I think all things considered, it was an even fight. despite the Rain coming out one less in terms of kills, because their primary carry did survive, got a lot of experience, a lot of gold. Queen of Pain used the BKB charge, and they killed the other hard carrier. And considering how badly the Rain took that fight, Roar was not even used. It could have gone much worse for them. Checking out the gold, definitely in Rain's favor, but that's to be expected. They have 3 towers ahead of the Dire at this stage in the game. Experience graph still in the favor of the Dire. That could be a bit worrisome as Queen of Pain forced to pop another BKB just to escape the wrath of the Lifestealer. Fortunate for her that there was no bash in the play, but now there is a Roar. So Queen of Pain gonna have to play very defensively, just gonna blink out, try to pick up the rune. It is gonna a regen rune, which won't help her to defend this middle tier 1 tower, which will be under a lot of pressure. Centaur is being popped to prevent a Nyx Assassin backstab gank. Impale is gonna use that as well. Roar is gonna catch out the Nyx Assassin. No spiked carapace in place to really prevent a lot of that damage. Rage is gonna go right through that. Gyrocopter does pick up a successful kill. Bane's gonna get cleaned up as well. Clockwork is trying to go to work on the Lifestealer. Lifestealer will have that infest up. Will infest creep gonna go back around for the Clockwork, and this is gonna be an absolute massacre in favor of the Radiant. One more right click will seal the deal. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain gonna get another kill on the backlines, but now out of mana, does have the regen rune, wants to get back in the middle of everything. It's gonna be a 3-for-2 exchange in favor of the Radiant, and they got a tower. So Radiant must be feeling very good. And will I still go for straight up Abyssal Blade? That could be absolutely huge at this stage in the game. Shut down the Gyrocopter pretty much for free. As Nature's Prophet gonna invis around with the Shadow Blade, trying to get one stun off. They do have the Roar up. No, they don't. I think they were hoping. Well, they didn't really use too much resources, I guess. They were hoping for a first hit bash, I guess. And Gyrocopter, despite his immense farm, almost 200 CS at 22 minutes in the game. This is ridiculous. Still can't do enough, apparently. And it's very curious in this game because usually BKB is the item to go for, but might just have to skip that. I think maybe straight up Satanic would be a good option. You need to tank. The BKB won't help him. But he also needs to do damage, otherwise the Rains will just ignore him like they did in the last damage, or in the last fight. So it's just an awkward line that Gyrocopter must tread in this game. But checking out the net worth, Lifestealer is ahead of him because of those tower kills, and Beastmaster gonna get the cogs off, or the Clockwork gonna get the cogs off, and NA is gonna pick off the Rubik. Beastmaster is gonna die as well, and the Radiant gonna lose 2-for-0 in that exchange just for planting a ward. So nice gank by the Dire. Beastmaster, unfortunately for him, has died quite a bit recently. 0-3-3, gonna be quite a far away from finishing Magnums, and Dire might be able to claim their first tower, will claim their first tower, while their other heroes are split pushing. But now Nature's Prophet can start picking up some big items relatively soon, whether it be Deso, Maelstrom, Aga, Refresher. One would be a Refresher. So the Dire are going to be overall pretty happy with that exchange. Gyrocopter saving up a lot of money. Could potentially buy a BKB if you want to. Level 17, 23 minutes in the game. Ridiculous farm. GPM still in favor of the Lifestealer because of the towers. But still. As the Dire are going to attempt to take down Roshan. Gyrocopter does have buyback. This might be why the Dire are taking such an early Roshan, as Lifestealer are going to approach menacingly with that Abyssal Blade. And the Dire with the ward spotting out the Lifestealer's movement, just going to back out. As Gyrocopter going to clear out yet another stack. Wow, really? Really? 24 minutes in the game. Rapier time, let's go. Holy smokes. They must feel really behind. And they're not really that far behind. I think they are behind. Because if the Radiant were engaging in weird situations, they'd be okay. Did the Hawk spot the Rapier? No. They don't spot the movement either, but I think they suspect something's up. The Sentry Ward gonna spot out the movement somewhat. And Gyrocopter with the Rapier just gonna melt down this Roshan. What are the Radiant gonna do? If Gyrocopter picks up an early Aegis with the Rapier, it could be a hammer blow that the Radiant can never recover from. Glock gonna hook in, gonna get the keep of the light. Queen of Pain gonna pop the VK. Roar is going on the gyrocopter. Can he get the flat hand off? Lifesteal going to work. We'll pick off the gyrocopter with the rapier. The rapier. 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 Oh, Lifestealer has the rapier. Oh my god. This is... And he has Aegis. Why would you go for a 24-minute rapier? Just get tank, dude. Why go for a 24-minute rapier? And why go for Roshan when everybody's alive? I don't know. But as it is, Lifestealer gonna pick up the rapier, has the Aegis, a lot of mana, has that mana bank. And this is gonna mean middle barracks.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
As that was something else, not gonna lie. Middle barracks gonna fall, probably gonna rotate around to kill the bottom barracks. But now, taking a look. Oh, Goldgraph, usually in favor of the Radiant. Experience Graph gonna take the upswing, but net worth. Oh, Gyrocopter farming ridiculously well. Now you're back down to 7.8k. Meanwhile, Lifestealer has triple your net worth at this point in the game, just because of that one mistake. I didn't think Fota had to gamble it so hard, but they felt like they're at a disadvantage. And yeah, they're at a disadvantage. BKBs are running out very quickly on the co-op. I think if Gyrocopter went for a Satanic or an AC, it would be a lot better. Even an E-Blade. Anything but a 24-minute Rapier. And if they did go for that, they shouldn't have taken Roshan when everybody was still alive. Especially against a Leicester with Abyssal. What were they thinking? But as it is, the gold graph gonna start plateauing out. Oh, it was at 2k, then Roshan fight. It's only 10k. Experience graph really means jack all in this game. And now Nature's probably starting to get his farm going. Gonna have the Orchid up, and now that Gyrocopter spent an immense amount of gold, his 230 CS looks a lot less impressive. And Dire pretty much just threw. They had a chance. They were behind, but they still had a solid chance. And I don't really see them overcoming this deficit, especially with the Aegis online for the next 4 minutes or so. They're gonna have to get the perfect hook onto Rubik, get a Fiend Script going on Lifestealer the whole duration. Hope nobody gets roared, hope nobody gets bashed. Hope that Lifestealer forgets he has an Abyssal Blade. But the cooldown is gonna be used. Rain gonna be drawn out for a bit, but still cooldown is now down. Clockwork gonna cog defensively, trying to prolong the game any means necessary. Gonna be a roar onto the Gyrocopter. He is gonna die yet again. We'll have the buyback. Nightmare going down. The Beastmaster, Queen of Pain gonna get Abyssal to death. Fiend Script immediately broken. Orchid just too good. Gyrocopter doing what he can, but unfortunately without any damage, not gonna be nearly enough. Cogs proving to be the most valuable asset on the Dire at this stage in the game. And GG Go Next is the call. So that is gonna be a game 1 to the Radiant. And I thought the Dire had played pretty solidly with stacks, but just a massive brain fart of epic proportions is gonna just feel their collapse. And this is why Rapier is the biggest gamble in the game. Still, it did make the game a lot more interesting very, very quickly. And that is going to be game 1, so it's tuned for game 2. This is the semifinal, so it is best of 3. So I will be back very shortly with game 2. We'll see if Fota can recover. But as it is, bad rats, or rats in the dark, just going to keep winning. As this is going to be cast by BMON. Check me out on YouTube, Twitch, follow me there, BMON773, Twitter, Facebook, BMON773, all there. Shout out to his sponsors, and then some gaming, ATS-Gaming.com. Pretty large prize pool of around 2k euros for our weekend tournament, all thanks to Steel Series and Complete. So please do check them out. And I'll be back with the next game very, very soon. Thanks for watching.